And this week on D tier challenge, we're doing Jupiter, which really isn't that much to do, because to get through the whole planet, we'll be doing Metis, Karm, Carpo, Thebe, and then the Alad V boss fight. We will not be doing the Robololis because the level difference is so significant. It's level 40 as opposed to other content here is level
Operator,
18 to
did you
20.
hear that? It said
But because this one is so short, I might also do the new Strange quest as a separate video. We'll have to see how that turns out for me here. But let's just get started, shall we?
This is a rescue mission. We need to find and liberate the hostage before any harm comes to them.
Alright. I'm kind of surprised that Stalker has not tried to jump me at any point yet through this. I mean, I have been doing a fairly minimalist playthrough of only the nodes that really had to happen. Still, that said, I'm kind of hoping to have to fight him sometime in this playthrough. We'll see if I can get that to happen. Oh. Ah. Now, this was one of the first Corpus tile sets that got the full rework treatment. I think I barely even remember what was here before this, but I've been really happy with the reworks that they have done, like this and the Corpus ship redesign. I remember when I was first getting started and Stalker was actually a threat. I also remember when I finally got good enough that Stalker was nothing and I could just curb stomp him whenever I needed to, and then doing the quest that advanced him to Shadow Stalker and being afraid of it all over again. That was, that's really not the experience of Stalker once you get further into the game. You don't really care, typically.
If the wardens detect you, they will surely initiate the execution sequence. The bypass is done. Go.
Ah, I'm terrible.
Hurry up.
Oh,
You are running
well,
out of time.
I botched that then, didn't I? Door.
Hey! I will not forget this, Tenno.
There you go. Have a gun.
Prisoner located. We need to get them back to command in one piece. Find your way to the exits,
Alright.
and don't leave the subject behind.
But, oh no. I always thought that Stalker deserved a bit more credit or respect, as I really enjoyed the premise of field bosses like Stalker and the Zanuka Hunter and all of that, but they just don't matter anymore.
This is a mobile defense mission. You must deliver payloads and defend a number of locations while I break into the network. Be prepared for heavy resistance. I can't do this without you.
The idea that losing to the different field bosses like the Zanuka Hunter and like the Drustrog 3
Terminal spotted.
was actually pretty cool.
Upload me and prepare to defend.
But
I'm in,
they
Tenno.
become so trivial so
This
fast
will
that
take
people have almost never really experienced that. And also, honestly, it's not. it sounds cool to be like, oh, you lost to this. You have to like take a restraining bolt off of your ankle or something if you lose to the Grustrog 3, which I don't like that. Losing to Zanuka has its own separate mission, but like, hey, it's not that good of a mission. There's a Let's Play of it on my channel somewhere. I can actually put a link in the description to this video if I think about it.
Continue to defend.
But it's not that interesting. There's not really that much content in it. If there were, it'd be something, I guess. But also, it's not great design to hide content behind assuming that your players will fail. And it's also not great to have these sort of long-term punishments. The Zanuka Hunters and the Grustrog 3
Area completed. Move on.
really just feel like very
We've got to
early
find a
versions of...
Proceed and prepare.
Very early versions of... Whoa! Oh! Where am I going? Of the Kuvalich system and the Sisters of Parvos. Like, so early that they don't even really have much
Looks like heavy activity ahead.
custom specialized detail or anything to them. I think it might honestly be a benefit to remove them from the way that they are currently implemented, or
Location reached.
or
Drop me in and
I don't
defend
know.
our position.
But they kind of feel like clutter now that we have the
This will take a moment.
Kuvalich system. They're sort of forgotten side content that just kind of pops up in the background, and I feel like they deserve better than that. They're interesting fights, or well, they're interesting characters at least. I'd like to see them used more and be taken more seriously as a threat. That goes for Stalker and Zanuka and the Grustrog 3, all of them.
Still working
Something
on
that I thought might be
Continue to
clever
defend.
is, what if you based their challenge, or their difficulty, off of the player's mastery rank level? Because it's hard to really know how to scale up their challenge. One way that they worked it with Stalker was this Shadow Stalker upgrade is based off of your advancement in the story, which works. I mean, it does at least mean that there's some minimum amount of content that has to have been completed before they can get jumped by Shadow Stalker. But it's not really... Like, look at how fast I'm going through the star chart here, where I'm basically doing the minimal amount of work to go from point A to point B, or at least in terms of nodes. There's still some other stuff that I would need in order to get this far, like resources, etc., but I'm not worried about those for this. But, point being, if someone sat down and said, I want to go through and get to the storyline quests
Here's
as
the
quickly as
terminal.
possible,
Get me in and get ready
you
to
could
defend.
get through to it pretty quickly. You don't need to be that far in the
I know,
game
Tenno.
to have Shadow Stalker after
This
you.
will take a moment.
Whereas keying things off of mastery rank, yes, that does make it sort of optional content, but it does also mean that only people who have committed to a lot of gameplay will have to face that level of challenge. And that to me does make some level of sense. Now I know whenever I'm in
Still
region,
working
I
on it.
bullshit about,
Continue to
oh, mastery rank's not really a measure of skill or competence in the game, because it's not. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of better Warframe players than me who've watched my gameplay and like, what is this amateur doing? Why are they so bad at this? And because I don't have to be good at it. I don't have to be good at it to get as far as I've gotten. I just have to have fun. But all the same, me as a relatively average or middling player at high
Odds were
rank,
against us, Tenno, but we did it.
I'm still not
Mission
challenged by
complete.
things like Zanuka or Shadow Stalker, and I would like to be. I do think that if their difficulty scaled based off of my MR, that would be beneficial for me. but I do see some issues with that also, of how, well, I'll talk about that in a minute.
Eliminate all Corpus threats. My intel suggests there are rich enemy supply caches in the area, but I am unable to pinpoint their exact location. Search them out if you are willing to shoulder the added risk.
Now, while it seems like a lot of fun to be able to key difficulty based off of someone's mastery rank, and it would work well for me, it might not work well for anyone around me. And what I mean by that is, at one point in the game, this was probably years ago now, but I was dicking around. I was just leveling up all sorts of crap gear, and since this was before I was even MR30, so I was maybe MR25, I don't remember, and I had a new Warframe that I didn't have very much of anything on it. It was barely leveled up. I had all trash weapons, and I think a couple of them I didn't even put mods on. And honestly, the level of gear I had equipped was so bad, so horrendously bad, that I was doing Earth missions just to screw around with it. And I was essentially at the level of the content of early Earth missions, just from how much. Well, that's not the point. The point is that here I am, a high-level character doing early Earth content on public, just to be social, and this poor squad of newbies gets ganked by the Grustrog 3 on Earth, and just utterly, unfairly, insanely curb stomped. And normally, I would have had something to fight back with, but they were there to kill me. And because I didn't have any equipment to kill them with, the whole squad of all these rookie new players got beat into the sand. They got slaughtered by the Grustrog 3 over and over again, reviving until they ran out of revives, until it ended up being literally just me and one other person. Normally, if you have common sense, you don't have to stay and fight the Grustrog 3 because they give you... Lotus tells you to extract. I wanted to stay and fight them. The other players probably didn't pick up on the change of objective, so they kept trying to fight them instead of just leaving. And that made 2 out of the 3 other players just straight up leave party because of how badly that went. The third person stayed with me, and we tried to use our junk weapons to take down these high level enemies. I don't even remember how it went. I think we got it eventually, but this was not a good gameplay experience for 3 out of the 4 people there. Me being the only person who kind of enjoyed having to work with whatever random nonsense I had with me. I enjoyed that. I was like, oh man, this is all I've got. Let's see what I can do with it. I like that level of surprise and challenge. But new players who don't have a grasp on the game yet, who are by no means at that level of content, suddenly being forced to deal with, and I don't remember. I don't know what happens if they're not actually after you, because they were after me. So does that mean all those new players also got that penalty for being defeated by the Grustrog 3? Did they all get those stupid restraining bolts? Either way, these MR3 or 4 players who just started playing Warframe did not deserve to get ganked by these extreme high-level enemies. Just didn't. So, how would you prevent that from happening? Or how would I prevent that from happening? How would I, if I wanted to make field bosses more dangerous for me, how would I make them less dangerous for players that don't, that didn't sign up to get ganked by these things? Like, new players did not mean for this to happen. They are not here to get jumped and destroyed. And scaling them off of Mastery rank could potentially address that. But not scaling the enemy itself, scaling how the enemy takes damage from someone based on their Mastery rank. So the enemy doesn't get tougher, they just get some level of damage reduction or just overall resistances based on the Mastery rank of the person attacking them. I think that would be neat. Like if my damage against field bosses scaled based on that, but it didn't affect other people. So that an MR1 player is actually doing significantly more of their damage than an MR Legendary 1 player. One of us can work around that. And also, one of us shouldn't have to. I think that would work pretty well.
Elemental condensers, helium-free processors. Alec's facility is consuming Jupiter's resources on a massive scale. Operator, you certainly have an eye for strategic targets. Otis has marked key infrastructure for demolition.
Get in there and kick
Access the facility.
Then again, maybe I'm trying to solve a problem where there isn't one. You know, maybe I'm the only one who wants to fight the Zanuka Hunter and the Grustrog 3 and Stalker in interesting ways. Could be that those are just pieces of content that are supposed to get old.
First targets marked. Render them non-functional.
What do you... If people ever watch this video or I ever have commenters, what do you think? Would you want to see the Grustrog 3 or any of the field bosses get more attention, get more play out of them the longer you play? Do you miss that content once you've outgrown it? For me, I definitely do. I like all of the little things like that, which is one of the reasons why I enjoy having
These elemental condensers are the heart of
having a Kuvalich or Sister of Parvos. I don't know why it took me so long to remember that. I enjoy having those because of the way they interact, but also now that they've been changed so that they can't control multiple planets, it's
turn your attention to the
also kind of a downside for me because I don't get to interact with them as much. It just pushes me to kill them and loot their stuff and forget about them instead of having them around.
Overdrive sequence in progress. This will take a few moments. Do not allow Alec's personnel to reverse the sequence.
I forgot that I ordered a pizza, which I just ran to go get. Let's see how well Chaos does here. Jesus. I can't even walk away long enough. This is a lot easier when you have a second person here. Also, it's a lot easier when you don't run away to go order a pizza. Or to go collect a pizza, I should say. Not order one.
Success! Core melt initiated. In a few brief moments, this facility will cease to exist. May orders suggest
Run in for your life.
Got it, orders. Alright, well, I'm gonna take a short break between this and the next mission and eat my pizza, but you won't notice that, it'll just be a cut.
The Zanuka prototype has made Alad V a very dangerous man. If he's allowed to carry out his plans, no Tenno in the system will be safe.
Assassination contracts are not to be taken lightly. Eliminating this target will have a significant impact on enemy forces. Search the area. Leave no survivors.
Speaking of field bosses and the Zanuka Hunter, look at that.
Come, let me show you my new venture. I think you'd be a perfect fit.
What a solid transition, almost like I planned that.
You have loyalty issues, Tenno, my Zanuka project. We'll fix that for you.
Like, who is Alad V to be talking about fucking loyalty
Be careful,
issues?
Tenno.
The man who
Zanuka
has
has
literally
all the power of
betrayed
a Warframe
every
with a full
single
complement of mods.
enemy faction
It's as
in
if
the
you were
game,
fighting one of your own today.
including a hive mind that he was a participant of.
Oh, if it's your friends you're looking for, you're welcome to place a bid for my newest Zanuka prototype. Oh, have you come to make a donation to my newest enterprise? Excellent. Please report to my lab. Construction.
There is the assassination target. You know what to do. Looks like heavy activity ahead.
Now play nice town. Zanuka is one of you. Actually, come to think of it, Zanuka is many of you.
Jesus. Why is this not taking damage? Ah! Why? Why does Zanuka not want to take damage, but Alad will just fall over? Okay, that's getting annoying.
I can't decide.
It doesn't take any
Have you come to
damage.
save your friends, or just steal my property?
What is going on? Psychic bolts should be stripping that shield apart. He doesn't touch it. I'm very confused right now.
Tenno, be careful! You must make sure not to damage all those parts. Such valuable merchandise.
What in God's name? Why can't I get through the shield? It's just... What? far as I can tell, this thing doesn't have any freaking hit points left. Why can't I kill it? Look at the health bar. It's like nothing. I'm gonna run out of bullets before I can do this.
Forces dictate that you need to evolve.
I actually did run out of bullets before I could do that. Alright.
Which will it be, Tenno?
Okay, look at that. So it's not just my weapon loadout, because this should be enough to finish this off easy, but it's not. What gives? Okay. I absolutely cheated on that.
Nice work taking down.
But
the
I
threat.
don't know how
Now get
else
to
I would have done
extraction.
that. Well, y'all can judge me however you'd like to on that one, because I really don't know if what I did there was even within the rules of my own game. But I have this whole build set up for Psychic Bolt to take down defenses so that I can finish them off. And for whatever reason, Psychic Bolt just didn't work on Zanuka. Just left it with all of its shields, regardless of how many times I hit it with it. Am I just doing that much of the wrong damage types to harm shields? I'm gonna have to look at that, but whatever.
It won't be
So
bothering us anymore. Let's get out of
we've
here.
completed that week. See you next week.